Welcome to Basketball Coach. It's a project that I've been thinking about, dreaming about, writing about, coding about for about 7 years now, maybe at this point. It's the culmination of a desire I've had for a good coaching simulation basketball experience. I'm a big fan of basketball games, both in real life and gaming wise. Video games and real life games are pretty much neck and neck for me in terms of how much I've been playing them my whole life. And I like reading about basketball and writing about basketball as well. For the longest time, I've been a big fan of the NBA2K basketball series. And I know the most popular mode is probably the My Career mode nowadays, but you know, NBA2K has that full of microtransactions and it's more based on a multiplayer experience. But before that, I think they took it out in 2K15, but there was a mode called Coach Mode. And I really liked Coach Mode because sometimes you want to play, you want to be actively on your controller all the time. And other times you want to take a more relaxed, passive approach to a basketball experience, but you still want to feel involved. And Coach Mode was a really underrated experience where you take the role of a basketball coach. You don't play, you don't do any shooting, passing, dribbling, none of that. All you do is assign plays, substitute in players, call timeouts, and everything that a real life basketball coach does. And what did NBA 2K do? They saw that it was probably only like 60 of us per year that were playing that mode on a yearly basis, and they took it out. It's tough, but it is what it is. And ever since they took it out, I've been seeking to replace that void that has been in my heart and maybe the other 59 players. I have a feeling that that number is probably a little larger than 60. So yeah, after some time, after mainly some experience as a software engineer, I do that as my full-time job. I finally reached the point where I felt confident enough to go full flight with an entire application, and thus Basketball Coach was born. Basketball Coach is a basketball simulation experience, like I've mentioned before, where you take the role of a basketball coach and you do everything that a basketball coach should be doing. When Basketball Coach started, it was pretty bare bones. I was trying to base it off of another popular game called Basketball GM that has a similar sort of simulation experience, but is entirely different in what you end up doing in that game. You act as the general manager of a basketball franchise and you handle all of the things around the game itself, like rostering players, doing trades, signing players, doing things with your stadium, all that kind of stuff. And there was a noticeable gap in actually coaching your players that you have on each team. And that's all right. It was intentional by the creator. And I was hoping, to fill that gap by focusing in on not getting new players or finding ways to actually play the game. You are playing the game, but you're playing it in a way that I don't think any other game right now allows you to do as a coach. So the game is pretty simple in design, but I guess it gets a little bit complex under the hood. But the goal here is playing one of two current modes that are in the game. You can choose from a variety of 30 NBA teams in the quick game mode. My favorite team, as you can see by the jersey, is the New York Knicks. So we can play as them, and who's a team we don't like? Well, the Knicks played and were defeated by the Pacers in this year's playoffs. So you start the game off, and as you can see here, you're greeted with a screen in which you can control the game flow in terms of possessions, playing by minutes, or having this auto play feature where you can play in normal mode or in fast forward mode. And there's a number of things on the screen. We've incrementally added to the coaching experience with each new update. And let's start off with offensive strategies. There's a number of offensive strategies that you can tune to your liking, such as the play calling frequency, the tempo, offensive rebounding, and the focus that you want your players to have on any given possession. Defensive strategies have the same sort of pattern as well. Substitution strategies, which was definitely a little tricky to add, offer you control over who you want out on the floor, whether you want to go with one of these preset strategies or you want to just control it yourself. You can choose manual. I'll leave it on default because default is pretty nice. Tempo here is how fast you want your players to play. If you press push to pace, your players are going to look to shoot quicker, pass quicker, just make decisions overall in a faster way. And this can have advantages for you if you're going up against a team that I guess has has a really good defense. And if your team gets a rebound or otherwise gets a turnover where you have a fast break opportunity and you want the opportunity to score quickly, pushing the pace may be good. Alternatively, if you want to play slow, there are situations in which that's beneficial for you, such as if the game is winding down, there's not much time left, and you want your team to waste as much time as possible before shooting the ball, that could be beneficial for you to try to hold a lead. So that's one of the ways in which tempo is useful for you. I guess we're ready to just start the game. So let's start off by playing one possession here. The game starts off, Jalen Brunson brings the ball up the court. As you can see, a play call is ran. It's funny, as I mentioned, each possession is unique. So last play, the Pacers started off, in the last run through, the Pacers started off with the ball and they did not run a play, but they just instantly went into an action to score. And this is a play in which the point guard gets the ball and runs in isolation. Isolation doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to score, but the plays dictate predetermined movements and positions that your players are going to take. And that can be beneficial for you if you want to run more plays, like this offensive strategy play calling frequency lets you do. Or you want to run more freelance, like how the game started last time. All up to you. So spoiler alert, we can see that they scored, because each time you play possession, a full possession happens as well as its outcome, whether there's a score or there's a missed shot or there's a foul or there is a turnover as well, like a steal. So Jalen Brunson brought the ball up the court. He ran a pick and roll and he ran it successfully, passed it to OG Anunoby, who shoots and hits a three-pointer. Pretty realistic, right? I think that's happened a lot of times this season. And as I will continue to play the possession button, we see that the Knicks have managed to score, but the Pacers have been scoring as well. And that is basketball coach's baseline simulation in a nutshell. Let's try to see what more we can do here. Right now, the Pacers have gotten the lead. What can we do about that? So they're shooting 3 of 4. They've made all their free throws. And in general, they've only missed one shot in the entire game. What can we do here? We can be more reactive as a coach, or we can be proactive. I'm going to be proactive. I see that Tyrese Halliburton, and I know that Tyrese Halliburton is one of the best point guards in the NBA, and we want to shut him down. We can make team-wide adjustments here. I want to also note that the Pacers are a very good three-point shooting team as well. And we know they're going to continue to shoot threes during this game. So let's make a strategy that's based around stopping Tyrese Halliburton as well as preventing easy three-point attempts by my opponent. We're going to choose a default pressure of, let's start off with tight. Let's have less help on the interior so that we can close out on shooters. And for a pick and roll on ball strategy, we're going to want to go over on all screens because they have several shooters. And lastly, we're going to set a defensive focus on Halliburton. Now, what does this all mean? Of course, me being the creator of the game, I probably have more of an idea of what these strategies are. And as you notice, there's no direct hints or info into what this strategy actually does for your team. However, if we play one possession, we'll see that our current coaching effects view has expanded to show more information for us. And this is based off of the strategies you choose. And you can see here that it tells us that our team has a moderate boost in defending all three-pointers and a moderate penalty in defending dribbling penetration and inside shots. This was one of the components that I added and I'm looking to continue, improving on, because I want Basketball Coach to appeal to players of all different skill levels and familiarity with basketball. Whether you just have some sort of relaxed goal of being a coach or you literally want to be Eric Spoelstra, Greg Popovich, Tom Thibodeau, you can do all this. I'm hoping for it to be an educational experience as well as a fun one. I think it'll be a fine line to walk, but it's something that I think this game is capable of doing. So now that we know that we have these boosts, here we have another boost for defending three-pointers taken by the ball handler and a moderate penalty in defending dribble penetration and inside shots by the ball handler. And this means during pick and roll. I should actually add that, but this means for any sort of pick and roll action. And we see here that Tyrese Halliburton is our focus player. So hopefully that has a positive effect on us being able to stop him. Pacers are still finding ways to score. We're doing pretty well. 6-point lead, 8-point lead. This is a really good team. The Pacers have a really good offense. and it looks like our offense could use some work. Let's pause the simulation here. And what we're going to do is, I know that the Knicks are a very good offensive rebounding team. The thing here is I want to take more advantage of that. One of the things that we can do for offensive strategy is adjust our rebounding. Crash here means we want to focus on getting offensive rebounds at the cost of, getting back in transition to play defense. So we can see here that the Pacers are shooting really well. Let's see if we can stop them. Let's fast forward a bit. We can see here that they have a 26-point lead. Another feature that I'd like to point out is the assistant coach. This is the newest feature I have, so it's definitely going to be the one that probably could use the most work and might have, more room to improve. But this is another thing that I wanted to add to help new players understand the impact of their decisions and also get recommendations on coaching strategies that they can try out. It doesn't look like our coach has anything to say on offense recommendations. I guess from the coach's view, our offense isn't too bad. We're shooting 50% and we're shooting pretty well from 3 as well with no turnovers. Not really much to change on offense, but the Pacers are killing us on defense. And let's see some of these recommendations. Our assistant coach says to increase defensive pressure to reduce opponents' scoring and to focus on closing out on shooters to contest more shots. They're shooting 14 of 17. The game logic might need a little bit of tuning, but if anybody was watching the playoffs this year, in Game 7, the Pacers did break a record for three-point shooting and overall field goal percentage. So what we're doing as a coach is not working. We need to be a little more aggressive. Tyrese Halliburton is a good point guard. He's leading in points, but Pascal Siakam is shooting 4 of 4. Miles Turner is shooting 3 of 3. We probably shouldn't focus on him at this point. The players are killing us in a group effort. So what we're going to do is let's go with Smother. Smother is the highest form of ball pressure strategy, and it'll give us the best chance of defending against these shooters. We're also going to soft hedge on screens. Our offense is doing good, but it can be better. So let's target mismatches, or we can feed the hot. We don't have a hot hand yet, so that offensive focus isn't going to help us right now. Is there anything else we can do? Yes, there is. I'm gonna answer my own question. What we can do, as well as setting team-wide defensive strategies, we can also set player-specific defensive strategies. Is there anything I want to do with Tyrese Halliburton that we're not doing? Let's help on him heavily, and let's hard hedge. Let's get the ball out. Well, let's not hard hedge, because hard hedging is risky in that it makes the other players more dangerous as well. We got to stop the Pacers, so let's hope that these adjustments help. We can't leave anyone open. They're all really good shooters. Let's play 3 minutes. As you can see here, the coaching effects view has added the different game plan changes we've made. Okay, they're still down by 25 to start the third. Let's play a little more. Oh my goodness. So the Pacers are just destroying us, but that's okay, because as a coach, sometimes you can do whatever you'd like, but sometimes the ball just doesn't swing your way, and sometimes it swings your opponent's way a lot. Let's run it back. Let's see if we can do something different. What can we do differently? No focus player. I think that's what killed us. We're only down by 1 this time. Let's play a few more possessions. It's tied 38-38. So you see, it's interesting. I think the strategy I chose in the beginning to focus on Tyrese Halliburton was bad. But you see that the purpose of this simulation is to have each possession, each game, be its own sort of experience. You really can't control how well somebody shoots in game 1, but you also can't control how badly they shoot in game 2. Klay Thompson, one of the greatest shooters of all time, probably a top 5 NBA shooter of all time. He scored 0 points in his last playoff game. You wouldn't think that one of the greatest shooters of all time scored 0 points. But that's just how basketball is. It's a make or miss league. But what you can control as a coach is your ability to put your players in the best position to win. Let's exit this game so I can show more about what we have available right now. So if we go back to home, you can see I've added a new playoffs mode as well. And the playoffs mode patterns the NBA playoffs, where you have 8 seeds in each conference, and the default teams are the real life playoff matchups that happened. And you can choose to control like multiple teams, although you cannot play against 2 user-controlled teams at the same time. The game won't let you do that. You can also change the seeds as well if you don't want the Boston Celtics to be the best team, although they are the best team. They won the championship. And this is a mode that we have, so you can either play games, I'll simulate to the end here, or just progress. Now let's see who wins this one. So this was a fun little mode that I made during the real life NBA playoffs. The Miami Heat, who are the 8th seed, wow, they beat the Celtics. Semifinals, they beat the Cavs, they beat the Pacers and the Mavericks. Wait, the Mavericks made the finals in real life too, so it's cool to see that they made it here. So I have the quick game mode and I have the playoffs mode. I am working on a brand new mode, which is going to satisfy, I would say, a lot of urges of an inspiring simulation coach. But the mode is going to be called tentatively Legacy Mode. And in this mode, you start off as a rookie coach in high school. It's basically going to be a career mode in which you control auto-generated players in a set of leagues starting from high school. Then you're going to go to junior college, then Division 3, Division 2, Division 1, all the way to NBA. So that's going to be a mode that I'm really excited to unveil because you're going to have a sense of progression. It's going to be an RPG experience, and yeah, I guess that's as much as I can say right now. And the latest feature we added was this total games played counter. We passed the 10,000 games mark, and I didn't even realize. So when it happened, I was like, oh wow, I should probably add like a games played counter so people can know that there's other people playing this game. The hope is that I'll be able to unveil this mode sometime in the next month. The thing is, if it's like a RPG kind of experience where I want you to have level ups that you can get when you progress through the leagues, having an idea for like a good linear progression of a story, progressing through different leagues, and doing it the right way is going to take some time. But that's going to be fun. Once you get to the NBA, you're going to be the coach of one of the 30 NBA teams, and your goal will be to finish with the highest record. So yeah, I'm excited for that. Let's go into one game so I can unveil the game here. The plan for this is to be focused on the simulation experience and things in terms of like visuals and other types of animations and stuff. It's going to be thought of, I'm going to think about it on a case-by-case basis if it makes sense for the game, but I want all my focus to be on serving the niche of simulation, focusing on like what's happening in each point. And to the extent of knowing what's going on in the game, it's going to be this possession log, which is going to show you all of your decisions in a nice, easy to read format. So yeah, I'll think about adding some graphics, visuals, or animations as need be in the future. If you would like, you can view each player here and you'll get an idea of their position, their archetype. Jamal Murray is a shot creating playmaker, and their top offensive and defensive attributes. Now, this is all randomly generated between games to account for the fact that players usually have a consistent skill level from game to game, but sometimes your passing is a little better one game and it's a little worse the other. Maybe you're a better shooter one game and you're not as good the other game. So the way that I designed this was by creating an archetype system where there's currently 4 archetypes in the game: the scrub archetype, the role player archetype, the secondary star archetype, and the superstar archetype. Now, the better teams will usually have 1 superstar. Sometimes they have 2 superstars. Nikola Jokic is a superstar, and each tier of archetype dictates your average skill level in all of the attributes that are in the game. People also have specialties as well, or as I sort of define them internally, you have skill sets. Jamal Murray's, if you go back to him as a shot creating playmaker, his skill sets and specialties include shooting, dribbling, playmaking of some type. And for some archetypes, they can also have weaknesses as well. Kentavious Caldwell Pope, his archetype is a 3-and-D guard, and that player archetype specializes in 3-point shooting and in perimeter defense, in all-around defense in some cases too. However, they're not very good playmakers because their job is to stand in the corner or at the wing, catch the ball, shoot it. So yeah, these are all different archetypes, and although the range of skill, like what their exact rating is random, I have the archetype set so that you know what their floor is and what their ceiling is on a game-to-game basis. So like during the playoffs, you're not going to randomly have Nikola Jokic become a scrub. That's not going to happen. He's a superstar. He's going to play as a superstar in most games. If I missed anything, we also have a blog here if you're into that. I write at times about different things relating to Basketball Coach, just talking about simulation games in general. And yeah, that's available. And this total games played counter. Yeah, I think that is everything that I wanted to get across. There's a Reddit as well a subreddit where I talk about the game and such. Sorry for going from dark mode to blinding light mode, but we just crossed the 18 member mark, I think sometime a couple days ago, and it's cool to see that, you know, incrementally people find this game and they want to, you know, follow it and talk about it more. So yeah, this is a free to play online web game. I built this, speaking more on like the tech side, I built this entirely in client side JavaScript and TypeScript, and there's no worries. I don't save any user data or anything at the moment. If people want me to save their data for anything, I guess I might, but this game is completely free to play. I don't anticipate it ever being something you have to pay for, unless I make like a mobile app or anything. But I wanted this to be an online experience that you don't need to sign up, you don't need to buy nothing, you don't need to do anything else but just hop in, put on the basketball coach suit and attire, and then just get to playing. So yeah, this is a free game, free to play. I think that is everything to touch on here. Yeah,